This is Josiah again on each one teach one. I know I have been hiatus for some time, and there's a reason for that. Like I said before, I've been working on some of the application that will make your life a lot more convenient and secure. As you well know, the purpose of this program. So on each one teach one, what we do is we break the gap between the mentors and the mentees, and we also teach, educate, inform, and try as much as we can to give gainful employment to the youths in the continent. And today is one of the sections that we always have had. I know I haven't been doing a lot of the interviews like the ethos states. However, bear with me. We'll embark on it. We'll come up with a lot of interesting things for you. But today, I'm going to talk about something that is very peculiar, um, very unique, and the point I'm going to make has not been at any point at any time in point never been addressed or looked at from this vantage point. So what we all desire is actually an option to the world. So we've seen a lot of things happening, and we've seen a lot of activities from many people. And the question still remains: why is it that a group of people are going through so much, had gone through so much, and are still going through so much? And the answer to that question is not very obvious. It seems to be clear at the very beginning, but then when you dissect it, you'll see that it has many facets to the complicated nature of it. So there's a dichotomy to what a black person is. First of all, nobody's a black person, but it's universally acceptable by the system that a certain group of people are classified black based on their not the content of the character, but the facade or the skin that they wear. So this is story of our life, and this is where we find ourselves. And now there's been upheaval and change. The status quo is being challenged by those who will not sit still and accept something bad in their lifetime. So it's talked about the sins of the ancestors. Most of the time, we reflect on their progenitors, as we are saying today, that most of the people that whose ancestors had been a part of what has happened to this group, a group of people, are now protesting against it, and in fact tearing down uh, images or statues that represent some of these heavies. So this is a time of awakening, and we should understand the time that we live in. That, in the words of Malcolm X, which I'm going to paraphrase now, he said that it's going to be a time when a black person, the so-called colored people in the likeness of African descent, will now start thinking for themselves. They will be so enlightened intellectually as to think for him or herself just like the other groups do. Now, he will not rely or she will not rely on others for intellectual exercise. He will now critically examine every information collected or given. He said that there's going to be a time when that's going to happen. And when that happens, we will see this kind of uprising. And they will now start doing things for themselves to change the status quo. So that resonates with what I was thinking about the night before, last night actually, that those who can teach themselves can discipline themselves, and those who can discipline themselves can teach themselves. Then, if you can discipline yourself, you can control your information. And if you can control your information inside and outside, you can control your future. What constitutes your information is the question here. What constitutes your information includes who you are, your identity, which is all a part of your culture. What are you connected to? Are you a part of the root and the branch in a systemic trunk branch root system? Are you a part of it, or are you an Oreo? Okay, black outside, white inside. Not really thinking appropriately how to use the philosophy that you have adopted or learned from other people and reverse engineering to have your own fingerprint on it. You cannot liberate yourself by relying on others in captivating your mind, what you think or do, feeding your mind with biased or unbiased information, you cannot rise with those that way of thinking. Every information should be subject to analysis. And when I say analysis, I'm not just talking about black and white analysis. I'm talking about all other facets that are not the eyes cannot see. You have to critically analyze it. Humans have hunches. In the past, in the African kingdom, they had women with these hunches that they consult with. The kings will consult with them because of their great hunches to be able to connect and know when somebody telling the truth or lying. The same thing applies today. You cannot do anything when you rely on another. I cannot just say this enough. I keep saying it as if I am deranged. Now, let's go back to the basics. In American community, like I've always tried to understand why a group of people, especially people of my descent, are the way they are in thinking and economic and the economic struggle and etc. etc. What I found out, it's not really shocking. It should be expected that many of them are comfortable with the status quo and they refuse to think or do anything for themselves, both because of ignorance and at the same time because of being lazy and not wanting to learn or proceed in the obstacle they find themselves. If you don't understand what's going on, you will never figure out how to get out of what is gone down. So the purpose here is to make you understand what is gone down by first making you understand what's going on systematically and systemically. A group of people has been put in a place, or we can use the word contained. They have been contained. Now, the pursuit of education promises an opportunity of some sort to change and live a dignified life. But that is a fallacy because the system they're in promotes a particular philosophy. And individuals have to live a lifetime to defend the school they went to. And that defines the job that you get. However, common sense does not predict that we rely on certificate to make a living. God created everybody. For those who don't believe in God, maybe you believe in a supernatural being, a higher power of some sort. That made it possible for the existence of this life force. Humans are evolving creative beings. That's why we went from walking to flying. We are not animals. What happened to a group of people is really sad. Dehumanization of a group of people have resulted into what I call manufactured concept. And many people share this view of manufactured concept. So you justify what you are doing to this group of people because of what you have painted them to be. You vilify and denigrate them. Check it out. Any part of the world that you go to, you will see those that are in the hood in debilitating conditions are usually colored people or the so-called black people of the world. Why is that? Hood? What is a hood in a car? A hood is the part that covers the area that contains the engine, the running engine of a car. The hood covers it. It seems to me that the hood signifies something that's closed in or covered. So now with the hood, you cover that. So now that word hood might have been coined by a group of people, the group of people themselves. But what result do you get when you reduce a human being to almost an animal? Because you think that we live in an animal kingdom, therefore it's fitting to have a human classified as an animal. That is not the case. A human being can never be an animal. I never had been an animal because the humans name the animals. Okay, the humans make their food, they cultivate their food, animals don't. Whoever is teaching you that humans are higher animal or higher level of primates or whatever, that's fallacy. That's a lie. That's a deranged mind trying to subterfuge everything that's already been in place so that they can have and promote their purpose. Now you need to investigate all information and analyze them critically. You cannot accept anything on a face value because it was given to you. Get up from your slumber, rise up, and check the fact. The books are there. The records are being kept. Look for yourself, and you find what the truth are. So a group of people going through this situation have suffered so much and continuously suffering. Today is June 7th, and it should be a day where you keep your money in your pocket. And I don't know if you understand what that means. Is to deliver what? To deliver economical consequences to those that begrudge you. You send it a message saying that I have had enough of this. So are many people in the world. They have had enough of this. So the upheaval or uprising, or what they call riot, has gone all across the globe like wildfire. Wildfire. It had covered every part of the planet, and everyone have the understanding of why Judge Floyd didn't have to die. Now, for the black folks of the African or African descent, people of African descent, it is imperative that you understand the reason why that happened and you think of a model that will help you to avoid this kind of situation. You need an economic power. 1.7 trillion US dollars is not a chicken chump. And do you know about $400 million went to black businesses out of that money that you spend on a yearly basis? Does that make really sense to you? Now think about it. You have the potential of $1.77 million, and only 400 million came to your people. And now, who do you think will build your community if you don't bring that money back to your community? Now, all the banks out there in the world, do you think those banks are created to make your life better? No, banks are out there to make money. And now, if it so happen that you're part of the bank, and then you on a wholesale value, you will benefit from the whatever feature or offering that the bank have. But in the long run, is banks do have subsidy arrangements with various developers who capitalizes on development of estates or suburbia developments and building all these little estates here and there and housing units for their own people, and which now removes black folks. And that is why you have the evolution of the hood, where the houses are not in great, they probably are in great shape, but the comps are not reflecting the actual values of the homes because it has been dumped and classified and red taped to be of certain level, and therefore it attracts lower income tax, property taxes, and therefore they cannot afford to pay the teachers that teach in those public schools, and the public schools are not well maintained. These are systemic. It is quite well organized. There's been record there in the system in New York State where certain developers were able to arrange a massively, build estates, housings which excluded black people. And today, those houses are very, very pricey because they have accumulated equity. This equity had been able to help them send their children to universities and schools and help them have life savings to death. And these houses are paid off. And these are some of the things that are deprived of the Africans and African descents up until now. Those who came in now understand how the system works, and they took a, they did what they had to do so that they can benefit from the system, which doesn't even permit search, so to speak, in a very let's say in a very business sense. So they have clauses that forbids selling to a black person, giving a black person a piece of property, or allowing them in a community. And it's been said time and time again, when you're a black person, you go in a community, you want to, buy a home there. The people that live there will decide whether or not you come in and all of that. So these are the story behind what is going on. The manufactured consent that has been given. So the manufactured consent makes it possible for anyone now to hurt a black person and claim that they're nothing but bad people anyway. They're animals. So if they're animals, they have to be killed. Why don't you kill your dogs? Why don't you kill all those little rodents? You don't kill them because you think that their life is more valuable than a person, the so-called black person. So that leaves me to believe there is a thing of importance about a black person that causes others to hunt him down and kill him. I don't know what it is. I cannot be afraid of my shadow. I cannot keep running forever. I have to defend who I am, and remain African as always. I am encouraging everybody who's of African descent to take on the African name because you cannot run away from your shadow. You cannot be what you're not. As much as you try to be what you're not, you lose everything that you're all about. And in the end, you are lost and your generation will be lost forever. You make a decision and decide what you want to do. This is a turn in the century. There's something happening. There's some kind of enlightenment that's happening. Changes are about to happen. Recession will hit too. So take these to consideration and decide what you want to do. Do you listen to those before you who had told you that you cannot benefit, or restructure a structure that's already bad? We have to build a new foundation so you can have a stable home. Now, in the 20th century, there's a lots of books that can teach you on how to remain an African and also promote the progress of your people as much as the world. There's a lot of knowledge and wisdom from this group that's never been explored and looked into for what it is. Common sense is not that common. And there are many things that science and technology cannot envisage. Okay? Science is specifically analyzing what the eyes can see, either with telescope or naked eyes, and making sure it confirms with some ideas that we have in our mind, and again, proving facts, which is now turned into theories. So it starts with hypothesis, and once it's proven and it's occurring naturally occurring and it's verifiable, then it becomes theory, and that's what science is based on. The thing is, science cannot see everything, and it had not seen everything, as we well know it. There are other means of assessing things. There are other ways of, peering into things, scoping things out, which are, available to those that have the ability to note those. So there's a need to bring these into RAND, and there's a need for this to be a part of our learning and a process of understanding. So pulling our brain power together is another way to go in growing really fast and building capacity. You have to consider what's important to you. And that goes to every one of you, whether you believe in God or you don't believe in God, or you're a part of an organized religion. You have to think first that you are a black person or you are of African descent, and you have to relate whatever you're looking at to who you are first. Because whatever you're looking at, the philosophy is designed to suit those that originated it. After a person, do you think you can build anything by relying on philosophy that doesn't represent you? How long would you continue quoting dead men like Mortician, while in fact you have living those in the land of living with a lot of knowledge that can help you, that can help you change who you are? When would you start loving your brother and sisters? When are you going to start doing that? When would you start trusting them instead of trusting in money? When would you remove greed of capitalism brought about by capitalism? When would you remove that and openly accept helping one another? When would you do that? Everything is not about money. And there's a need to have the money to make the life lively. I mean, make life lively, you know, livable and comfortable. However, knowledge proves to be very important because without the knowledge and the wisdom, the one with the money quickly parts, quickly parts with that money. So a fool quickly will part with that money because they don't have the wisdom to do that. So in that case, wisdom is what protects the one with the money. Money is just a it's a shelter for you to live upon. So this is some of the information I have for you today, and I wanted you to know that you should not take a name from a stranger because dogs never take a name from a stranger and they don't even listen to a stranger. Why should you? Why should you be a part of a society that had given you a name and the name that they have given you has nothing to do with who you are? Think carefully about what I'm saying and remember your ancestors. Know thyself, remember your ancestors. That's the reason why that has been said over and over again. Okay? Dogs do not take names from strangers. And why in the world would you take a name from a stranger? Even your borders are divided and carved out and giving you a name. Don't you think it's a curse when another gives you a name for their own purpose and you live in another's shadow? You can't get anywhere in life doing that. Whether it's education, whether it's religion, culture, politics, you cannot get anywhere. You live in the shadow of others. When China was wreaking havoc in the Southeast Asia, all the way down there to the South, to Korea area and all of that, those people were called vassal states. They never got anywhere. They had to devise a way to get out of the shackles of Chinese dynasties. Which, in that case, some people, some regions in that area developed their own system and moved away because they understood that if they don't do that, that they will be wiped out, and every part of them that's in any history book will be wiped out because everything about them will change and given Chinese identity. The same thing today. Whose identity do you have? It doesn't matter what country you live in. You have to represent your true identity, as well as carry and respect the country that you live in with all the love that you can harbor in your heart. Do not forget who you are. Fight for what you believe in. This is Josiah again on each one. This is all about what I have for you, and I hope you enjoyed it. If there's any question or any topic you wanted to talk about with us, let me know. If you're a new subscriber, go ahead and hit the notification button and go ahead and share this link with everyone that you know. And if you're already here with us, thank you very much. Share the link as well and continue to tweet it and share with everyone that you know. Okay? So if you hit the notification button or bell, so that means you're going to be getting all our video streams. You'll be the first to get it each time we stream, make a video. Thank you guys again and enjoy your day. It's Josiah signing off on each one, teach one. Bye for now.